There is no other way to see or understand Kemet. What became the Nile River was a desert valley. Centuries and centuries before, millennia before, what is called the Sahara Desert was a fertile river valley. Bodies have been found within the last 2 years in the Sahara that predates any mummified body in Kemet. So mummification didn't start in Kemet. I learned when I first started going to Ghana, because of my relationship to royalty, all of Ghanaian royalty still gets mummified. That's why they don't have immediate funerals, okay? Because there's a certain period of time, 70-something days, that you have to submerge that body in salt and suck all of that fluid out of it to keep the bacteria from causing the degeneration of the body and moving the organs, of course, and making sure you do the same thing to them. This process still goes on in West Africa and East Africa and Southern Africa today. While Kemet was still a desert on the periphery, Southern Africa was the green, fertile valley. Eastern Africa, Uganda, Ethiopia, these are green, fertile valleys. But something happened and shift in the ecology. They said a shifting of the earth on the axis. Whatever happened, over thousands of years, the Sahara began to dry up. Much of the water that is now shifted to the south begins to spill over into the valleys and move downstream, which is northern Africa. The Nile is the only river that flows from the south to the north. And so water's coming out of tributaries in Mozambique, Malawi, and Congo, in Ethiopia, and Uganda is now racing down what was a dry valley, bringing all the muds and the silts from the swamps and the rainforests of the south and the east and some of the west, and creating this enormously fertile corridor all the way to the Mediterranean. The Sahara is drying up, and the lakes like Lake Chad, which is 1% of what it was 1,000 years ago. There was even rivers running from the Atlantic Ocean to Lake Chad and into that area. That's all underground now. And the satellites take picture of the underground aquifer, where there's billions of barrels of water under the desert. Gaddafi had tapped into one of those aquifers to provide water for Libya and for the Libya agricultural industry. But the population at a certain point in history began to shift westward and eastward, looking for fertile grounds. And at the same time, the population in the southern sphere began to look northwards, for fertile ground. And the Nile, as it was coming into being, provided that. And so because of the ecological balance that occurred in the Nile Valley, a most extraordinary ecological balance that allowed for the production of agriculture, it provided for people food, clothing, and shelter in an enormous way. And so people came from all over to become a part of this ecological boom, where you can plant food, where you can nourish your animals, where you have the material to build housing, et cetera, sell your surplus and make income to buy other things for your family. All of this is what the Nile is providing. This is the foundation of civilization. And people came from all over and brought their tools and their skills and their understanding of husbandry, of agriculture, of building, and it produced this society we know as the Great Kemet that lasted for thousands and thousands of years until the barbarians from the north came down.